Imagine a creature carrying a definitive sentence, 10 years of guaranteed suffering. Now imagine that same creature breaking that curse in just 10 days. This was the reality of a small desert bird. She was sick, her feathers were falling out, and she was dragging her fragile body across the burning sand with zero access to food or water. One afternoon, a white pigeon flew overhead. The little bird called out, begging the pigeon to stop. When she learned he was on his way to heaven, she pleaded with him to ask God a simple question. When would this endless cycle of pain finally stop? It's a state of absolute helplessness. We all hit this wall eventually, the exact moment when our internal resilience collapses and we start looking entirely outside of ourselves for someone to save us. The pigeon kept his promise. When he arrived at the gates of heaven, he found an angel and explained the severe condition of the suffering bird, asking what her fate held. The angel's response was crushing. Looking at this timeline, you can see her exact sentence. Starting at year 0, God had written 10 more years of solid, unbroken sorrow into her life. 0 happiness until a full decade had passed. The pigeon was devastated. He knew that delivering a verdict this heavy to a bird barely clinging to life would instantly destroy whatever fragile will to survive she had left. This brings up a paralyzing question. When your deep, relentless suffering is definitively written into the cosmic script, what exactly is the logical move? The angel offered a single hidden caveat. Her destiny could be altered, but only if she actively expressed genuine gratitude, specifically saying, "Thank you, God, for everything," while still trapped in the middle of her pain. The pigeon flew back down to the harsh desert floor and delivered this deeply counterintuitive instruction. The little bird didn't understand the logic. It made no sense to be thankful for starvation and sickness, yet she abandoned her complaints and made a solemn vow to blindly surrender to this practice anyway. This is a brutal psychological test. It forces you to abandon the easy, familiar comfort of asking "why me?" and instead embrace the massive friction of unconditional acceptance. The trials began almost immediately. She collapsed on the scorching, unforgiving sand, unable to walk, but she forced herself to say, "Thank you, God, for everything." The heat intensified, bringing agonizing thirst with absolutely no water in sight. Again, she anchored herself in the mantra, repeating her thanks. The physical agony worsened, causing her feathers to fall out, yet she stood against the howling wind, looking up, keeping her vow of gratitude. By maintaining a state of thanks while her body was failing, the bird began to detach her internal state from her external environment. This created a shift in her personal frequency. Every choice of gratitude acted like a wedge, slowly prying apart the heavy links of the fate she had been assigned. Then the physical reality began to bend. Strong new feathers started rapidly pushing out the old, diseased ones. Above her, an environmental anomaly took shape. Heavy, dark rain clouds began rapidly gathering and expanding over a desert that had historically seen 0 moisture. Torrential rain finally hit the parched earth. Instantly, vibrant green plant shoots burst from the soil, and a freshwater pond pooled at her feet. Notice the sequence of events. The physical environment around her only altered after her internal response to the suffering had entirely shifted. 10 days later, the pigeon passed by again. Instead of a dying animal on cracked mud, he found a healthy, laughing bird soaring playfully above a vibrant, blooming desert oasis. The timeline made no sense to him. Completely confused by the broken prophecy, the pigeon rushed straight back to heaven to confront the angel about the original 10-year sentence. The angel clarified the situation. That 10-year destiny wasn't a mistake, it was a mathematical certainty. But the bird had used her own behavior to pay off that debt early. Look at the timeline block again. When a person offers genuine thanks during their worst moments, they process their hardships at an accelerated rate. This purity of spirit incinerates burnt karma, destroying years of destined suffering in just a few days. This process effectively compressed 10 years of struggle into 10 days of final testing. Her gratitude turned a long-term sentence into a short, intense transition. Now, look at our own psychological default. The moment we face a minor inconvenience, we usually start complaining and immediately adopt a victim mindset. These two reactions produce opposite realities. As this split layout shows, complaining makes your existential burden feel heavier, while gratitude acts as an alchemical force that lifts you up, making reality lighter. Take the bird's vow today. Commit to thanking God or the universe in every single situation, regardless of whether it feels painful or beautiful. Use gratitude as a functional tool for navigation. It provides the leverage needed to physically rewrite the trajectory of your life. Pure gratitude is the exact point where complaint dies and miracles begin. It holds the power to take your destined punishments and turn them into profound blessings.